Being a great athlete does not automatically make you a good businessman. It also does not mean you make logical decisions. We respect NBA players for the way they entertain us week after week, and we admire them for the money they make. But some of them are just plain dumb when it comes to making large purchases. This is one of those videos you want to watch. We did the research, and this is what we came up with. Enjoy this video. This is NBA's dumbest purchases from then and now. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. Jerome Williams' Personalized Mascot. You can ask anyone you want about Junkyard Dog, and they'll probably say he's a great guy. Jerome Williams was beloved by the fans in Detroit, Toronto, Chicago, and New York for his hustle and hard play. While in Detroit, he even had his own website and his own, wait for it, Personalized Mascot, which looked like a junkyard dog. The positive thing about it was that it made appearances in schools and hospitals to reach out to young children and teens. The bad thing about it was that it was an unnecessary purchase of a mascot of a junkyard dog, which he spent actual money on. His intentions were good, so this is more superfluous than actually dumb. Oh yes, Williams even had his own cheering section at games. We wonder if he paid them as well and how much. Jarrett Jack's massive shoe collection. While having a shoe collection is a pretty common thing and it isn't fundamentally weird, Jarrett Jack might have gone a little too far with this, just a smidgen. Jarrett has been a successful point guard in the NBA for many years and has made millions and millions of dollars. He's used at least a few $100,000 of that money towards buying shoes. You heard that right. Yes, our Jack has more than 1,500 pairs in his collection, with many of them being expensive and rare shoes. He has about 2,000 cubic feet of closet space dedicated to just shoes, which is pretty weird to most people. To get a sense of just how many pairs he has, he could almost wear a new pair of shoes each and every day for nearly 5 years. That makes the shoes a complete waste of space and money. On the other hand, I don't know why it is such a big deal. My wife has a collection about that size. Scottie Pippen's private jet. Where and why would Scottie Pippen need a private jet? Scottie Pippen bought a $3.4 million Gulfstream in 2002 that unknowingly needed $1 million in repairs to make it fly. At almost $4 million a pop, he'd have to take 1,400 round-trip flights to Paris just to break even. To make things worse, Jordan's sidekick missed scheduled inspection and bought the jet unaware that it required another $1 million in repair. Unable to come up with the cash, Pippen had the jet grounded, turning it into the world's most expensive piece of debris. Yes, you read that right. The 7-time All-Star buys a $3.4 million plane that never leaves the ground. Maybe he can use it as a jet museum. J.R. Smith's Black Jesus piece. According to TMZ, Knicks guard J.R. Smith owes close to $50,000 to a jewelry company called Lemmerman's for a variety of pieces. These include a $25,000 diamond necklace that features an Afro-American rendition of the Messiah. In other words, a Black Jesus pendant. Wearing this jewelry is bad enough, but appropriating the likeness of Christ, since nobody knows what he looked like, is going to make for one heck of an apology at the pearly gates. Smith was ordered by the courts to pay the balance or risk future penalties. We just wonder how you make diamonds look like another color than what they are. Latrell Sprewell's luxury yacht. In 2004, Latrell Sprewell was so incensed by a 3-year, $21 million contract offer that he retired from basketball saying, "I have to feed my family." Apparently unaware that income plays an essential role in any shopping experience, Sprewell spent the next few years fighting multiple foreclosures and burned through nearly $100 million in career earnings. After defaulting on his $1.5 million yacht nicknamed Milwaukee's Best, it was seized by U.S. Marshals. We're trying to figure out why someone in his position would buy such an expensive luxury after complaining that he's not being paid enough. We do not know why a guy who once made $14 million in a single season took out a mortgage on a boat, but I think we all agree that it was an extremely stupid purchase. By the way, the food for a reasonably sized family does not cost close to $21 million unless they eat truffles and caviar all the time. Al Jefferson's bed. Al Jefferson's bed costs the same as a new Ford Mustang. It's 10 feet by 12 feet, which means it's considerably larger than the average US prison cell and can comfortably accommodate 8 people. Unless the player is inviting the entire Utah Jazz over for group naps, there's absolutely no reason for this kind of bed. Or is there something else going on here? Shaquille O'Neal's car fish tank. During his impressive basketball career, Shaq made more than $300 million just from team contracts. It's estimated that his overall earnings are close to $700 million. Shaq was not only one of the most dominant players in league history, but also one of the most entertaining. Shaq was a big guy, which explains why he fused two cars into one to comfortably fit his 7'1", 300-pound frame into. What cannot be explained is his insistence on putting fish tanks in bizarre places. Because he liked to listen to his music really loud in his car, the fish in the car aquarium, yes, you heard that correctly, were dead before O'Neal arrived at the arena. He also has a custom aquarium built into a semi-truck frame. One would think someone with his status would put a little more thought into the example he sets for children. The message here seems to be, waste your money on unnecessary crap and kill fish. What is it about O'Neal and fish? Something fishy is going on here. Marquis Daniels chain. This might not only be the worst purchase of an NBA player, but might also be the weirdest and worst purchase any athlete ever made. Marquis Daniels was never really a star in the NBA, but was a solid bench player for many teams. In 2009, Daniels was a member of the Milwaukee Bucks and wanted a piece of jewelry. Instead of getting something normal, he got a 3D printed that featured his own face. While it was never announced how much it was, based on the price of diamonds and gold, along with labor, this piece of jewelry possibly cost over $50,000. That is far too much for a piece like this, especially for someone who does not make nearly as much as other NBA players do. We hope his wife, Shauna, was proud. Eddy Curry's cable bill and other big spends. While he was a talented scorer, Eddy Curry was known for his lack of work ethic and his idleness. Despite this, he had heaps of natural talent and was a solid contributor on offense. So he made a lot of money during his NBA career. Instead of saving and spending wisely, he got a little crazy in terms of his spending. He had a personal chef that cost him thousands a month, a fleet of pricey cars, and a cable bill that costs over $1,000 a month. That is an extremely huge cable bill, especially for a guy who is rarely home and travels a lot for his job. It is no shock that Curry has found himself with money problems, which is not surprising with purchases like this being made. DeShawn Stevenson's personal ATM. Stevenson is probably best known for his beef with LeBron James. LeBron totally owned Stevenson's Wizards during the Eastern Conference playoffs, but his Mavericks managed to steal the win from the Heat in the 2011 finals. Stevenson played a minor role in stopping James, yet he celebrated as if he single-handedly contained one of the best players in league history. The funniest part about his success was that Stevenson wasn't even on the Mavericks team a year later. Instead, he was signed by the Nets. As a member of that team, Stevenson proudly posed in his home with an actual ATM in his kitchen. According to TMZ, he paid $3,500 for installing it, which charged a $4.50 transaction fee and was refilled with $20,000 a few times a year. Our question is, why? The world is going paperless, and there are ATMs on almost every city block. Maybe he just likes to show off. He really cashed in this time. Gilbert Arenas' Shark Tank. Gilbert Arenas is an interesting character. He was an amazing scorer and star in the NBA, but his career was over just about as soon as it began. He also signed what was probably the craziest contract in NBA history. He signed for $111 million over 6 years, but did not even play out the entirety of his contract due to injuries and other issues. So he was getting millions and millions for being at home. He had made a laundry list of purchases that could have made this list, but his weirdest is probably a giant shark tank in his home. This shark tank features expensive sharks, is giant, and costs over $6,000 a month to maintain. What a great example of wasting money. Like we said, NBA players are not always the brightest, and sometimes ego gets the better of them. Many of these purchases are luxurious or status symbols, which makes them totally unnecessary and illogical. The list we have is still much longer, but we only have so much time. Feel free to leave a comment regarding other expensive and unnecessary stuff or services NBA players pay for. I am done for today, but please join us again for more interesting videos about this weird world we live in. Until then, stay safe and look after each other.